Listen. If you are an American who believes there is a God, then you probably believe that America is still the greatest nation on earth. Hopefully, you also recognize that we need a moral, spiritual revival before a political revolution can be planted in fertile soil. It just makes sense. Are you with me? Please subscribe to Daily Tea at www.dailytea.us/subscribe. Self-defense or submission to Islam. Daily Jot by Bill Wilson. New York Observer columnist Micah Halpern has observed that the United States policy toward Israel is becoming more aligned with terrorists sponsoring nations than with Israel. He wrote on October 26, "There is a double standard here." Halpern pointed out that on October 21 a man at the Mexican-United States border lunged at a Border Patrol officer with a knife. The man was shot 4 times and died. Halpern said that there were no international headlines, but in Israel, if a Palestinian were killed after trying to knife an Israeli officer of the law, there would have been international headlines. Secretary of State John Kerry said at the UN that Israelis should exercise restraint and not try to protect themselves against such attempts. Really? Halpern reports that the Palestinian UN representative, Riyad al-Malik, told the UN Security Council many lies on October 22. Our Palestinian people, particularly our children, are being killed, targeted by the Israeli occupation forces. They are denied fundamental right to life because of their national and religious identities. Their legitimate rejection of illegal occupation is being faced with killing and destruction. Incitements and provocations continue in Al-Haram al-Sharif, the noble sanctuary, as the Temple Mount is known by Muslims, and the Al-Aqsa Mosque attacks, incitement by the Israeli extremists and the officials against Palestinian civilians. Day after day we watch this. Halpern wrote, "They believed every word. They gobbled up every untruth." Then Kerry got up and said, "We continue to urge everybody to exercise restraint and refrain from any kind of self-help in terms of the violence, and Israel has every right in the world to protect its citizens, as it has been, from random acts of violence." Kerry told the UN that Israelis should restrain from self-help, meaning self-defense, but that the Israeli government has the right to protect its citizens. This is the crazy logic of this administration. In other words, if anyone is threatening your life, you are not to protect yourself. You should politely ask the killer to wait while you call the government to come protect you. Halpern asks why Israelis are not allowed to defend themselves, and what about this idea of restraint on both sides? Israel is showing great restraint, especially because they are the people being attacked. The vast amount of Palestinians who have been injured during this terror spree were the terrorists themselves. And they were injured or killed in the midst of the act of terror. Israel is killing terrorists, not innocent teenagers. I will take Halpern's concept another step. It comes down to self-defense or submission to Islam. This administration prefers the latter, and its policies have supported such since it took office. That's why Christians continue to be slaughtered by the Islamic State. Do you subject yourself to authority if it is evil? Or do you do as Peter and the apostles in Acts 5:29, who said, "We ought to obey God rather than men"? Have a blessed and powerful day. Bill Wilson. www.dailyjot.com